Hello YouTube world, my name is Joseph Todd Cortez, but you can call me Joseph Todd. Welcome to my channel. I am an aspiring pastry chef based out of Little Rock, Arkansas, and I'm also enrolled in the culinary program at Pastry Tech. In 2022, I graduated from Escoffier with a diploma in the baking and pastry arts. And since then, I've wanted to start a YouTube channel. I literally have so much content on my phone that I've just never uploaded. But it just so happens, one of my chef instructors has given me an assignment to upload an oral presentation to YouTube. So I feel like the universe is like knocking at my door saying, hey you, now's the time. Let's get this started. Let's get this creativity out of your head and show the world what you can do. So today I'm going to be doing an instructional video on one of my favorite pastries called the Paris-Brest. It's based off of a bicycle race in 1910 from Paris-Brest, Paris. It was created by a pastry chef named Louis Durand, who is from Maisons Lafayette. It's made with pâte à choux pastry, so if you've ever had an eclair or a cream puff, same type of pastry. But instead, we pipe it into a ring, which represents a bicycle wheel. We then cover that with some sliced almonds, bake it, and then slice it in half, and it's filled traditionally with a hazelnut mousseline. However, I have a playful twist. I use Fruity Pebbles. So, I infuse my pastry cream with Fruity Pebbles by infusing my milk with the Fruity Pebbles. Today, I'm going to take you on the whole journey on how that's done. We're going to make that Fruity Pebble milk infusion. We're going to turn that into a creamy pastry cream. We're going to turn that creamy pastry cream into an airy mousseline. We're going to make some pâte à choux, pipe the pâte à choux, garnish it with some sliced almonds, some crushed Fruity Pebbles. We're going to then bake it. And then we're going to slice it and fill it. And it's going to be this brunch pastries feature at Hill Station, a local restaurant here in Little Rock, Arkansas. I actually got this position as a pastry chef from this pastry. And so I'm an independent pastry chef for different businesses throughout Little Rock, Arkansas. It's truly, truly a passion. And this pastry also is where I showed my creativity for the first time during my time at Escoffier. So I felt like it was right, it feels like home to introduce myself by doing this pastry. It's different, it's playful, it's fun, and I can't wait to get started. So thank you for joining me and welcome to my channel. Let's get started with the Fruity Pebble flavored milk. All right, I have my milk, I have my Fruity Pebbles, I have my sauce pot on the scale to tear it out. What I'm going to do is weigh out 2,000 grams of milk. Perfect. And then I'm gonna set that aside right here. I have 2,000 grams of milk ready to go in my sauce pot. Now I'm gonna weigh out 500 grams of Fruity Pebbles. The thing about Fruity Pebbles is they soak up a lot of milk. So you don't wanna add too much to where it just absorbs all of the milk. You still want some liquid in there. So 500 grams should do the trick. Okay, so now we're gonna move everything over to the stove. We're gonna warm up this milk to about 130 degrees. That's just below scalding. It's gonna get it warm enough to soften up the Fruity Pebbles, to break them down, and to extract that flavor. Afterwards, I'm gonna cover it up and we're gonna let it steep overnight, almost like a tea. Tomorrow, I'll come back and I'll strain it with a strainer lined with cheesecloth. Get every single drop of a Fruity Pebble infusion flavor. So let's get started. I have my milk on the stove and I'm bringing it to 130 degrees. That's just below scalding. As I mentioned before, it's gonna help soften up the Fruity Pebbles, break them down, and extract more flavor. Now, when I first made the Paris Express, the Fruity Pebble Paris Express, I made a big bowl of cereal and I put it in the refrigerator and soaked it and extracted the flavor that way. That works too, but I found going that extra step of warming up the milk and then letting it soak, it just pulls out or draws out more flavor. The color is a little bit better in my opinion. Also, if you don't have time to let it soak overnight and you're trying to get it done in a day, you can let this soak for about 2 hours and it will be just as good. Since I don't have brunch until Sunday, we have plenty of time. I'm gonna go for maximum flavor and let it seep overnight. Let's check the temperature. We are good. So I'm gonna turn that off. I'm gonna add in the Fruity Pebbles. Give that a little stir. This is hot. This smells amazing. Back over here at my prepping table, I have a pot with the Fruity Pebbles. You can see, oh my gosh, I wish you can't see. I don't know if you can, but like the flavor or the color is lighting up, turning like a Fruity Pebble pink is what I call. And I'm going to go ahead and pour it in here. Okay. And I'm gonna wrap it with some wrapping paper. I like to let the wrapping paper touch the surface of it. One more over that. Boom! Fruity Pebble milk infusion is ready to go. Don't forget to label it because sometimes life happens and you know. You might not come back for 2 days or something. Fruity Pebble. All right, let's go and put this in the refrigerator. We'll revisit this tomorrow. All right, guys, I'm back, ready to strain my Fruity Pebble infused milk. This has been setting overnight, and the color looks amazing. Just what I was going for. Again, that Fruity Pebble pink color. I have my little colander lined with cheesecloth. I'm just gonna let it do its thing and drain. See what I meant by Fruity Pebbles take up a lot, they soak up a lot of milk. And so, I'm just gonna let that do its thing. Where is my spatula? Here we are. And let's just kind of let it work through. Now that this has had time to strain out all the liquid, it's time to measure everything. So, I'm just gonna set this right here. And we're gonna weigh the milk. Looking for about 1,000 grams. Boom. And still some left over. But what I think I'm going to do is strain this again just to get it as smooth as possible, because I can see some like fruity pebble. I can still see fruity pebbles. So 1 second. Give that a little. There we go. All right, so I have my milk infusion. I have my Fruity Pebble milk infusion. Let's gather the rest of the ingredients and get started on the pastry cream. I have here what's called our mise en place. It means everything in its place. It's important for us to have all of our ingredients weighed out, measured to go, so we can work as efficiently as possible. In my sauce pot, I'm going to add in my Fruity Pebble infused milk, light brown sugar, granulated sugar, and salt. In my mixing bowl, I'm going to whisk together my granulated sugar, cornstarch, and eggs and egg yolks. I will then temper the two together. I'll get to that, what that means here in a bit, and stir it until it thickens up. Lastly, I'll add in my vanilla extract and my blood orange liqueur. Now, this stuff right here, I love baking with it. It's blood orange liqueur made with Sicilian blood oranges. I swear, go get yourself some of this. It's, I don't know, I love it. And it adds just a touch of sophistication to my playful Fruity Pebble dessert. So let's get started. I'm gonna start by adding my Fruity Pebble infused milk into my sauce pot. And as I wait for this to warm up, I'm gonna go ahead and whisk together my granulated sugar and cornstarch. Give that a little whisk. Then I'm going to slowly start adding in my egg yolks and eggs. Just get a little bit of air incorporated into this, mix it all up till it comes into a pale, light yellow. Now, a lot of pastry creams that you'll find online will just use granulated sugar, but I like the depth that light brown sugar adds to it. Therefore, I like break up my sugars, something that I tend to do with a lot of my desserts. And I don't know, it just kind of gives it a little bit of character. And so the reason why I add in the light brown sugar and granulated sugar to the sauce pot, so I know it infuses pretty good. Same with the salt. It would just be a little bit tougher to mix the light brown sugar in with the egg yolks and get it smooth. Now just wait. I'll start to, I'll know when it's time when I start seeing bubbles form around the edges of the sauce pot. Just like yesterday, whenever I was infusing the milk with the Fruity Pebbles, it started going around the bubbling up around the sides. So I'm starting to see the bubbles form around the edges. I'm gonna go ahead and add in my light brown sugar, my granulated sugar, and my salt. Kind of give that a little stir. Now we're just making sure that all of our sugars get nice and melted and infused with the milk. Before we temper. Now what do I mean by tempering? If I were to just dump this pot on these eggs, they would curdle up and seize, and I would be eating scrambled eggs instead of a creamy pastry cream. So what we have to do is slowly introduce this hot milk mixture to this delicate egg mixture. Do that by just adding a bit at a time. And what we're doing is raising the temperature of these eggs. So when we put it back on the sauce pot or on the pan to cook, everything will be nice and on the same page. The warmer it gets, the more you can add. So I can feel the bowl. You know that it's pretty warm. So I can add a bit more at a time. Really, it's warm enough that I can just marry the two like this. Before I put it on the hot plate, I'm gonna get all this ready to go, because you don't want to stop this from moving now that it's now that everything's back together. You don't want to keep it, you don't want to stop moving it because you want it to cook evenly. It's starting to thicken up. What I'm doing is scraping the bottom to make sure nothing's sticking. All of these eggs are like kind of just cooking and making it thicken up. So the slower you go, if you really take your time with it, it kind of develops slowly and more smooth. But I have been in a pinch where I'm like just mixing fast and trying to get it done as quick as possible because another pastry cream like seized up or something went wrong. But yeah, nice and slow is the way to go. So I almost forgot the butter. This should have been part of my mise en place. That's why it's important to have all of our ingredients out, ready to go. Anyhow, we didn't forget it. After I add in the vanilla extract and orange liqueur, I will add in this cooled butter, and it's going to help cool down my pastry cream. And just add a buttery, rich flavor. Now, if I was just making the pastry cream, that would be it. However, I'm making a mousseline. So, after the pastry cream has set, which I'll explain this again later, I will whip the pastry cream with whipped butter, and it's just gonna make it a lot lighter, and it's gonna balance out the sweetness. If you notice, I added a lot of sugar to my pastry cream. And so I have different formulas for different pastry creams. If I wasn't making a mousseline, I would not have added that much sugar. But I like to add quite a bit of sugar so I can add and balance it out with the butter. It's like yin and yang, in my opinion. Starting to see it get thick on the bottom. So here in a bit, I'll switch to my whisk to keep everything mixed properly, homogeneous. Matter of fact, let's do that now. Once it starts to boil, I'm going to start my timer, and I have it set for 2 minutes. It's really starting to thicken up now. Add a dash of it. First bubble, finally. Now I'll start the timer. As soon as I can see that first bubble, I'll start the timer. Go ahead and add in my vanilla extract. I do it the last 20 seconds. Smells so good. Go ahead and add in that butter. Nice, silky, and smooth. Okay. Now what we're gonna do is put it on a sheet pan and let it set overnight. Or at least 4 hours. If you are doing it all in one day. That was an arm workout. We could, if we wanted to, strain this and just to make sure that there's no cooked egg pieces or anything like that, but I'm confident that there is not. Smells so good! I haven't made this one in a long time. Lately I've been making a lot of bread puddings because it was cold, and it just saved time. With me being in school full time, and just other things in the background, such as taking care of my dogs and my grandmother, it's been challenging to kind of do everything, but I make it. I make the way, I do it. So we're just spreading this out. So as you can see, this takes a couple of days to do if I want to do it right, you know? If I want to get maximum flavor for the Fruity Pebble infused milk, let it steep overnight. You want to make sure you cover this up with plastic wrap touching the surface to avoid it getting any type of skin. I know it kind of looks brown right now, but when we add in that whipped butter, it's going to lighten it back up and change it to that Fruity Pebble color that I love. Okay, so if I wanted to, I could leave this out for a couple of hours to come to room temperature, and then I could go ahead and whip it with butter. But it's almost midnight, and so I'm calling it a night. Fruity Pebble pastry cream. Always label, right? Okay, so since I am going to come back tomorrow, I'll have to take this out and let it get to room temperature. Actually, I won't, because I have a way of okay. Yes, you're supposed to let it come to room temperature. However, if you have a heat gun, you can go ahead and whip it up and warm it up to room temperature. Saves a lot of time. I've been doing this for about a year now, a little bit over a year, making Paris breads. I have so many different flavors. I have a lemon limoncello, I have a mimosa, I have a Bellini. So another thing about me is I started in the service industry with mixology. So before I went to pastry school, I had came up with this whole idea of being a private event bartender, but then 2020 happened. And so I got in school for baking after I decorated a cake, and it just kind of went from there. So when I started doing this last year for brunches, it was like a light bulb came off in my head, and I started doing cocktail-inspired pastry creams. So I did a mimosa by reducing champagne, added it to the pastry cream, brightened it up with orange zest, and then whipping it up with the whipped butter. So you still had that mousseline texture, airy, light, and it just very, very balanced. I did a gin, so I reduced again champagne. This time I added some gin to it, which gave it like a botanical note, so a little bit floral. And I added some lemon zest to it. Then I did a Bellini, so I reduced peach puree, reduced some peach schnapps, added that to the pastry cream, then reduced some champagne, added that. Like, trust me, I have a whole line of different Paris breads now, and I cannot wait to share them with you all, because they're delicious, and you just have to try them at home. You won't regret it, and I'm just happy to kind of be sharing everything that I have created, and I can't wait to share more. So until tomorrow, this is a wrap. Have a great night, everyone.